But what's happening to our kids right now? This is independent schools. These are 14,000 kids in private schools like mine. Private schools like mine, independent schools, represent 1% of all the kids in the United States. These are kids who have, arguably, on average, a very fine education. They're spending more than 50% of the kids are spending more than 3 hours a night on homework. By the way, that includes, in some schools, mandatory sports. So you have to go to sports and play a game in sports, and then you have your 3 hours of homework after it. So the American Academy of Pediatrics says that 9th and 10th graders should have 9 hours of sleep, and juniors and seniors should have 8.5 hours of sleep. Only 8% of the kids in our schools get the required amount of sleep, and that's assuming that they're all juniors and seniors. We have little zombies walking around our high schools, completely sleep deprived every day. If you read any studies on what sleep deprivation does to both a developing body and mind, it's terrifying. So we have these atrocities we're committing, not because we don't love these kids, but because we're wrapped around a paradigm that requires it of us. And we think we're doing the best we can with them. Incredible pressure on the kids, particularly the ones who have high ambitions. A complete disconnect between what they want to learn and what we're teaching them. We have a whole system based on rewards and punishments. And the research on that is pretty compelling. As soon as you take a punishment away, whatever it was motivating goes away as well. And we're creating a generation of neurotic perfectionists, frankly. Don't take my word for it. Here's the dean at Stanford in 2006. Increasingly, we are seeing students struggling with mental health concerns ranging from self-esteem issues, developmental disorders, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-mutilation behaviors, and suicide behaviors. These are the winners. Stanford's the most selective university in the country. These are the kids who won. So Harvard, too many of our students, perhaps every year or two, spent using college as a treadmill, wake up in crisis, not knowing. And these aren't some low-level professors. These are the deans of the most prestigious universities in the world, talking about what's happening to the kids that they're receiving. This is a survey in 2010 of 95,000 college students in 140, give or take, colleges. Students reported experiences within the last 12 months, quote, feeling things were hopeless, 46%. Feeling overwhelmed by all you had to do, 85%. Feeling exhausted but not from physical activity, 80%. Feeling very lonely, 56%. Feeling very sad, 61%. Felt so depressed it was difficult to function, 31%. Feeling overwhelming anxiety, 48%. Feeling overwhelming anger, 38%. And that's the tip of the iceberg. Below the surface of kids who are showing visible distress, we have kids who are stressed and disengaged and overwhelmed. 88% of independent school heads said that anxiety is a common issue at their school. 49% said that major depression is an increasing problem in their schools. And what's driving it? In 1990, 9% of all the kids applied to 7 or more colleges. By 2016, 29%, 1/3 of the kids are applying to more. I had a girl, and I'm not making this up, this is not an apocryphal story. She was a student I taught. She asked me for a college recommendation, and I always make the kids come in and interview with me before I write them a recommendation. And I asked her to list, I said, how many colleges are you applying to? She said, oh, kind of a lot. And I said, what's a lot? She said, I don't know, like 14 or 15. I said, well, list them for me. And I looked up at her and I said, you just listed 21 colleges. She goes, really? She applied to 21 colleges. So what happens is that as the kids apply to more colleges, there's more rejections. As there's more rejections, the kids feel like they have to apply to more colleges. And guess who profits? The vice presidents of enrollment management who get to keep their jobs as the admit rates drop.